Hi, welcome back and welcome to the brand new Ultimate Planner built in Notion from Minimalist Paper Company. Minimalist Paper Company is a Notion template store over on Etsy. This template is available for purchase now, and whether you've purchased it or you're just looking at it, this is a tutorial to show you exactly how the planner works. One thing I tried to do in this planner was to really eliminate repeated data entry. I wanted smaller, bigger databases, but fewer of them that required less from you to enter in. There are a lot of Notion templates you'll see, and while they look great, they would require a massive amount of data entry on a daily basis in order for you to be able to make your template function and work the way that it is designed to work. And I didn't want this to be this way. I wanted it to be something that was intuitive. You typed it in once and it showed up multiple places. Here we have all of the hubs that are included in the Ultimate Planner, which is really designed to be an all-in-one Notion template, a life planner that you can use. Here also you'll see a new functionality in Notion that you can kind of scroll through the multiple databases that are available on this page. Number one, we have your inbox, which is your task list. Here you're going to set tags. Is this a personal task, a professional task, a quick task? I love the idea of quick tasks, things that will take less than 15 minutes to do, and you can, knock a lot of those out when you're busy. Time allotted for that task, the status. Here I added some different kind of ways to denote where a task is. If it's something that we're going to migrate to a different day, something we're just going to do later, or something that we need to delegate. Here you can set due dates and start dates, and also a priority. Urgent being this has to happen today. High priority, it has to happen in the next few days. Moderate or low. Next up, we have your calendar. Now, if you're someone who uses Google Calendar and you're interested in integrating Google Calendar into Notion, there are a million tutorials on YouTube about how to do that. There's also Notion has excellent educational articles about how to do that. That is something you have to do yourself. No one who is building you a Notion template can do that for you because it requires you to change things in your settings with Google in order to make that happen. This is actually a Notion calendar. If you use Notion Calendar or the Notion Calendar app, you can use that. However, if you wanted to replace this with an integrated Google Calendar, you certainly can do that. Here you'll see all of your items. You can tag them. You can enter in notes, URLs. For instance, if you are supposed to log on to a class and the URL's right there, you can put it there. Next up is your habit tracker. Your habit tracker is going to exist here in checkbox function. So if you wanted to add a new habit, go here, click checkbox, and enter in whatever that new habit is. So if I wanted to meditate for 15 minutes every day, I would enter that in. That's going to appear here. And then when I click on my habits, what you're going to want to do is go to your properties, and any habits that you want to appear, just make sure that they show up. Right here you can see these are little eyes, and if they're grayed out, it's not going to show up. However, if it's darkened like this, it will show up. So if, for instance, getting up at 6 a.m. is not a habit you need right now, you can just change the little eye. If drinking 64 ounces of water, you actually want to drink more, you can also click these little buttons and change and edit the properties. Next up is your shopping list. Pretty self-explanatory. If you have any other properties that you want to add, just click plus right here. Next up is your trip planner. I will show you our travel planner, which is one of the things I use and love the most in Notion, and I'm actually going to show you mine, but a link to your trips is right here. Next up, we have a journal, your goals, projects, and your routines, and I will show you how all those work. Next up, we have web links, certain websites you always visit. You can just click right there. First up, let's look at the Planner Blueprint. The Planner Blueprint is a space to help you set up your planner. First thing we did is this is actually a journal entry for what's called a brain download, and that means you just sit down and you get everything out of your head onto paper. It's a great way to clear your brain, a great way to get clear on what you need to do and when you need to do it. Next up, add any events that you want to. Anything you have coming up, go ahead and get those entered in. If you have a workout class you go to, you have a work trip, you're going on a vacation, anything like that, get all of those special events entered. Next up, set up your task list. Anything that needs to be done. If you did that brain download and you remembered 50 things you needed to do, get those into here. Due dates and start dates, that's something you can always enter in later. I think it's a great idea just to get your tasks in and set a priority. Is this something I just need to do at some point, or is this something that needs to be done right now? Next up, you're going to set up your projects. Projects come with a template. Here you go. You can put in that. We put in a mock one of building study bookshelves. You can tag it in any way you want to. If you want to add any additional tags, just start typing right here. Projected start date, a deadline, your budget, and then you can enter in your status. If at any point you want to change any of these properties, click on these 6 little dots and hit edit property. So for instance here, if you wanted to set a new kind of status, if you wanted to add anything, you just hit plus and you enter it in. Here also you can change the colors if you want the colors to be different or anything like that. Next up, this is a template that is built in to show your projects, summarizing the project, if there's a shopping list that needs to be done, and any tasks. This is actually, again, your task list, and you can just enter in those tasks here. Next up are goals. Here you go. So you can enter these in as any kind of goal that it is, a start date and an end date, your progress. I put this as a note, which just means it's an open text field, because progress to a goal can be something that can be very subjective. However, if it is something that's more monetary, for instance, we have another example of saving a down payment, you can do that as well. And here is your status again. This is also a template that will be built in that allows you to go through your goals and also enter items into your task list. Next up, you'll want to go to your financial tracker. There's an extensive financial tracker built in that only appears on the financial tracker page, given that that information is often something that maybe you don't want everyone seeing who can see the dashboard of your Notion template. And also you'll set up the rest of your planner. So let's go to the Productivity Hub. The Productivity Hub here is meant when you just need to get things done. Your goals and your projects will appear here as well as your task list. These also have breakouts for goal tasks, migrated tasks, low priority, medium priority, all tasks, overdue tasks, anything like that. Next up, we have a Pomodoro timer, which is a 25-minute timer. You can set your habits up here, just as I said, or your routines. So routines here, you would enter in, again, another checkbox. Not a person. Well, this is a good example. So if you ever need to change the type of property you just added, these are all property types that you can put into this kind of header in every entry in Notion. Status, date, person, files and media is going to be like a picture. A checkbox is what I use for the routines, but you can also enter in anything in here. But if you ever mess up, these 6 little dots right here are your friends, and you can change them. When you want to change your routines, you'll just enter that in here. So let's say move 30 minutes. You can add that here. When you go down to your routines, you'll see that that doesn't necessarily show up. Go to properties and hit show all, and it will appear here. If you want to rearrange these, or maybe you don't want the date to show up, you just use these little eyes right here to decide what shows up and what doesn't. Here's your journal again, and here's your calendar again. Shopping list. Next up, we go to our daily dashboard. These are those same templates again, filtered for the week. Here's your task list. This is a time block that you can set up how you want to spend your day. Your meal planner, I'll show you how to set this up in a minute. Your habits and your routines again. The weekly dashboard, very similar, filtered to show the week. And here's your health tracker. I'm going to show you the health tracker and the food journal when we get to those pages, but those both appear here. Goals, projects, habits. And I think you're getting the point, but monthly will be a little bit similar, but more expanded out. You're going to see your whole month health tracker, your trips, your shopping list. Next up, let's go to the nutrition planner, and I'll actually show you my own. This is the template I use most that I've ever built. I actually use it on a daily basis. This is how I meal plan. We have several different databases in here, but this is a lot easier to use than it looks like. The first thing you want to do is go to your meal planner. When you are deciding what to eat this week, you can hit new and you can type in a recipe, you can enter in photographs, you can do whatever you want. You can also tag these with the day, the time, the date, the meal prep, tags, anything like that. The great thing about this is that you can tag recipes from the internet. So I highly recommend that you download Notion Web Clipper, which is a Chrome extension that you can use. Here I went to some of my favorite websites. Pinch of Yum is one, Half Baked Harvest, and actually using Notion Web Clipper clipped a recipe into my Notion template. The great thing about Notion Web Clipper, it brings the entire article with it. So it not only did it bring me the recipe, it brought me the picture. And then that picture shows up. It will bring you the entirety of the article. So if you have a blogger who you follow and maybe they write a diatribe about how much they love carrots, you can just back that out. That will get drug over too. The main thing you want is this recipe and the picture. The great thing is you don't have to go to their website to do it. It just exists for you right here. So what you would do is take your recipes. You'll see I've already done it here. And you'll just drag them from the meal planner to the recipe box. And that's what I do. So if this week I want to make this, I just drag it over. And I will show you my own. So for instance, this is my meal planner. And what I do is you'll see I have some things that I've just typed in. And then I have other recipes that I have pinned from other places. If I decide that I want to make this, I just drag it. And then once I make the recipe and I want to keep the recipe, I drag it back to my recipe box. The next thing we have here is the perpetual grocery list. This grocery list will actually fulfill your pantry inventory as well. You're going to keep statuses of the things that you want to keep on hand all the time. And then when you go here to your pantry inventory, this is actually going to be that perpetual grocery list for anything that you marked as being in stock. So you'll be able to really quickly on your phone see, oh, okay, well, I have avocados, broccoli, and milk, because periodically you go through your pantry and see what you have on hand. Next up is the food journal. This is brand new. I just built this. But right here, what we created was you can enter the date. You can tag your days. Is this a sick day or a day off? You can really make this work for you. Also, too, if you're somebody who is battling maybe some health issues or you're trying to control food intake to try to minimize some other symptoms, you can add additional tags here. Let yourself know that you felt bad, that you were inflamed, or maybe you had stomach problems, anything like that, you'll be able to tag. So you'll really quickly be able to see how you felt. Next up, we just have these text field options for your breakfast, lunch, your dinner, your snacks. And here you can create statuses. So if you're someone who's tracking protein, calories, macros, anything, and these are all editable. Again, these 6 little dots are your friends. Change them to be whatever you need them to be. And then when you get here, you'll be able to see your food journal. This actually also is a calendar, and you'll be able to see it in a calendar form. After that, we go to your finances. Finance is something that we streamlined a lot with this. This is a database that you can use to track all of your finances. You can enter in things as expenses, income, anything, and you can enter it here. The great thing about Notion too, you can also hit calculate, and it will make calculations for you. So for instance, that can help you see if you're on budget. If your budget is $1,000 a month for food, anything that you tag as food, you would be able to see. So here we have income, bill, investment, but anything else that you want to kind of tag and keep track of, subscription services, food, entertainment, you just enter that in here and you'll be able to see just those items and calculate them. Next up, you can enter your budgeted amount, your actual amount, when it was paid and received, if it's auto drafted. This is the same template, just going to show up for bills that are due this week, pay this week, or due this month. Next up, we have a budget tracker. Again, anything that you want to track. So for instance, if you're tracking housing, you could enter in a status to change, are you over budget, under budget, or no budget is allocated, and then your monthly budget and your actual expenses. Sinking funds. So sinking funds are like you're saving money for something to spend. That could be you're saving money for a trip, you're saving money for a home repair, anything like that. This is money you're intending to spend later. Enter that in and that amount. Discretionary budget, so budgets that don't fit into any of these other budgets, just extra money. You can put what that is and put a plan for that money. Next up, if you're someone who does no spends, if you have a no spend Tuesday, maybe no spend Wednesday, you can, or a no spend week, you can create those here. Here's your budget in calendar form. This is different than your regular calendar because I didn't want this information to be private. And so you'll put that there. Next up, we have accounts, debts, and subscriptions. I think those are pretty self-explanatory. Next up, we have goals. Already shown you these, but this is where all of those appear. Travel planner. This is, again, something that I use all the time. The travel planner here, you're going to have a calendar, a bucket list. You can track your miles and points, travel docs. You have a journal. But where this shines is here, which are these trip planning pages. This is a template that you get within my travel planner that I use this so much. And I'm actually going to show you how I use it. But it's a trip planner. You can set dates, the kind of trip it is, who's going, the budget, when it's completely booked. And there's a trip itinerary, but here is a daily itinerary page. So if your trip is a week long and let's say you're traveling through Europe and you've got a plan and you're doing all these things, you can click right here, and this is a template as well. Your top 3 priority for that days. You can time block your days, and also we have links to your trips here. So I said I would show you how mine works, and I will show you my travel planner. I love it so much. So this is my travel planner. This is the exact same template, but just built for my trips. I have trips that are upcoming. So if I've booked a trip, it appears in upcoming. If I am planning a trip, which may be something that I'm planning, but I haven't really pulled the trigger on booking yet, they appear here. I have a dreaming section. I love to travel, so you'll see that here. And I enter in pictures and make it as aesthetic as I can. To show you an example, this is England and Scotland. I'm going in the fall. You can see here everything we want to do, our hotels we're staying at. And this is each day of our trip built out in an itinerary. And I recognize you will see that this says the Cotswolds and that this is Windsor, but it is a pretty picture. And here you put your top 3 priorities and you time block. I have not done that day yet. But if you look on some of the days, for instance, this I have. Like everything I want to make sure I get done that day. And I build out my days just like that. I highly recommend using that part of this template. And that exists right here in your travel planner. Next up is the wellness calendar. This is your calendar. Anything that you've marked wellness, exercise, self-care, or meditation will appear here. Habits and routines again. Here we have databases to hold your workouts or your meditation and breath work. You can tag those using Notion Web Clipper, or you can enter those in yourself. Completely up to you. Here's a skincare tracker, and I will show you that. It has its own page. Next up is a health tracker. Health tracker is brand new to me, but over here we have habits journal. Your food journal exists here, and your calendar again. But the health tracker is another calendar where you can track anything you're dealing with. So if you need to track your blood pressure or symptoms, maybe you're pregnant, maybe anything like that, you can absolutely edit this to work for you. You can put habits, anything you're trying to check off. Did I take my medication? Did I meditate? Did I sleep well? And here you can track how you slept. And the great thing about it is it's a calendar, so you'll be able to look back and see. So if you're tracking health issues, if you're talking to a medical professional, you'll be able to look back and be like, you know what, I really overall slept great this month, or I slept terrible. You can also track your cycle if that's something you want to do. Books and media. This is a content hub where you can track books, podcasts, movies, shows, anything like that you want to do. Here we have bookshelves. We have podcasts, music, shows, movies, anything like that. And then everything appears here. It's pretty self-explanatory. And once you fill it up, it looks great. This is a skincare tracker that I actually built for myself. And here we put a bunch of mock products in so you can kind of see what it's like to have different products. You will put, I'm currently using this. You can put it's a permanent product. It's a prescription product. When the time of day you use it, the usage, the date you started it, and the status. Like, I love it. I would buy this a million times over, or I did not see any results and I would never buy this again. You also can check if you would buy it again. Wardrobe Hub. This is pretty self-explanatory. Again, also, I love this. So in here, you're going to click new. You're going to take pictures of all your clothes, and you're going to put them in here, and then you'll be able to drag and drop these items up here for trips, or for outfit building. Trips are where I think this would be hugely helpful for planning, but you can use this on a day-to-day basis. I just think this would have great functionality for travel planning. But you can enter in the item, the season that it's appropriate for, what it works for, and you can kind of work through your outfits there. Next up is our home planner. This is has a home inventory. Home inventory, you list everything you own for insurance purposes. That seems terrible to do in a database unless you do it this way. Go through your living room and just type out everything you have. Files and media is the picture that appears here. You can click on it. You can take a picture of the room. Great way to keep information if anything were to ever happen. Next up is plants. I have a fiddle leaf fig named Charlie. He's indoor. He's a tree. I water him 4 cups of water twice a week. He does desperately need to be repotted, and the last time I cared for him, you can enter that in for all of your plants. So if you have loads of plants, you can build this great database out. Next up, we do have service providers. That's self-explanatory. That's just going to be people who you use and their contact information. Next up, we have pets. I have a golden doodle Nana. The date, their next vet appointment, and when they were vaccinated through. I don't have a cat, but if I did, I think this cat's really cute. Next up is home maintenance checklist. Here you can add any tasks. You do it daily, weekly, monthly, biannually, fall, spring, whatever you want. You enter those in here. So that is the Ultimate Planner. If you haven't bought it yet, I hope you'll consider it. It's over on Minimalist Paper Company. I worked on this for a good long while, and I really cannot wait to actually start using it myself. I'm going to convert my old planner into this planner, and I'm super excited because I love the functionality that I created here. So check me out over at Minimalist Paper Company on Etsy. Thanks.